viewers, this is easy to learn Microsoft Word, and this is lesson 5, your final lesson in the series. And I'm also your instructor, Vincent Hope. Today we're going to be learning basically two to three basic things, or let's say 2 things. The first is working with tables. Under working with tables, we're going to talk about how to insert a table in Microsoft Word, merge columns or rows in a table, split or divide column, row or table, change color and size of table border, delete rows and columns. Secondly, we're going to look how to adjust document page settings. Under that, we're going to be looking at how to create newspaper columns, how to add borders to a document, how to set page margins and border size, how to preview a document before printing, how to print a document, and create a resume. So let's quickly go to the beginning. So the first thing to do is how to work with tables. Now the thing we're going to do now is to insert a table. I take the cursor to the end of the first line, insert a table. I press my enter key. I use backspace. I press backspace. I'm just trying to create a space. I'm trying to create a space to add my table. Okay, so now I have a space already, so I will go to insert, and you see the table icon here. Now when I click the table icon, it brings insert table. Now it says I should select the columns and row. Now if I select 2 columns, you see it appears there, 3 columns, 4 columns. Now I select the rows. How many rows? I have 2 rows. Let me make it 3, and I click. So now I have 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. Let me undo. This is the undo icon, and repeat the process. So I click insert, table icon. I select how many columns I need. Let me say I take 3 columns now and 2 rows. So I have inserted a table. Now inside the table, I can type whatever I want to type inside the table. Click inside the column you want, you type, click, and you type. Now the next thing to do is to merge the columns or row of a table. Now I want to merge these 2 columns below. This is a column 1, column 2. I click and highlight the 2 columns I want to merge. Then I right click on the highlight, and you see where it says merge cells. So I click merge. The 2 columns are merged. I click inside. It is no longer there. Now let me undo it again and repeat the process. I highlight the 2 cells. I right click on it, and I click merge cells. Now I click inside. The next thing we're going to learn is how to split or divide a column or a row or a table. Now this is a column. These are 2 columns that have been merged. I can right click on it, click insert, click split. Then I want to split it to 2 columns and 1 row. I click OK. It has been split to 2 columns and 1 row. Let me undo it again, and I right click again. I click split. I decide to make it 3 columns or 2 rows. I click OK. You can now see that this one has been split to 3 columns and 2 rows. Now the next thing we're going to learn is how to change the color and size of a table border. To do this, you come to the edge of the table, you click, you see this icon here, you click on it, it selects the whole table. Then you go to, you right click on the table, then you select table properties. You click on table properties, then you see borders and shading. You click borders and shading. Now you can see none, box, all. It's always better to select all. If you select box, you see here what happens. So I click box, all the columns are selected. I select the type of style I want for the border. I select the style. I select the type of color I want. Let me take a red, and I also select the width of the border. I can select 1.5. and I click OK. Now you notice it has changed. I repeat the process. I click border or shading. I select a plain line. I select a color, blue. I select the thickness or the width, 3 points, and I click OK. And I click OK. So you can see the borders have been changed to the thickness, to the settings I have made. So now I have learned to change table color and size of border. Now let me show you how to delete columns and rows. Columns and rows. Like we know that these ones are columns. 1 column, 2 column, 3 column here. Now these ones are rows. 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. Suppose I decide to delete this column. I click on it. I highlight it down and I right click and I come to delete cells. I click delete. It will tell me what do I want. I select delete entire column and I click OK. That column has been removed. I want to delete a particular row. I can come out here. See when my cursor changes into a pointer, I click, it selects the entire row. I repeat the process again. I bring my cursor out. It changes to an entire row, or I can bring it down, changes to an entire row. I select the entire row is selected. I right click and I come to delete rows. That row is deleted. So far we have showed you how to insert a table, merge columns or rows, split or divide column or row, change colors of size and border, delete columns. Now let me remove this table completely. I click here and I right click. I can decide to just cut it off to remove it completely so that we can go down to the one. Then I press delete key to merge them back. Then we go down, we scroll down. So we're going to go to document page settings. Now to create newspaper columns. If you notice in newspapers, sometimes you have 4 columns, 5 columns, 2 columns. Now in this document we already only have 1 column. So how do we make it 2 columns? We go to page layouts. Then you see columns. You click on the columns icon. You can see it's only 1 selected. Let's select 2 for example. You can see the text has moved into 2 columns. If I select another one, I select 3 columns. You can see it is in 3 columns. So let me undo. Now I come to the next one, add borders to document. Borders are the distance between the edge of the paper to where your document starts. So if I come to add borders, that is not borders. That border is just like you want to create a kind of drawing or a rectangle or something around your document. So to do that, I will come to under the same page layout. I come to page borders. Now the page borders, you see setting none, box, shadow, 3D. So let me select the box. You can see if you select none, you can see there is no border here. I select box. I now select the style, plain style. I select the color. I take black for example. I now select the width. The width I decide to use 12.14. Then I decide let me use a plain color, it will be better. Then I use the width as 1.5 and I click OK. You can see the borders of this document have been inserted. Let me scroll up so you see where the border starts from. Okay, you can see it starts from here down around the color. You can always change it anyhow you want. You come to this place, you click again borders. You can change the color, make it red, then increase the size, change the pattern or style, then you click OK. It changes. So you've added a border. So let's go down. Now the next thing is to set margins. Margins is the distance. That was what I was trying to explain before. The distance between the paper and the first text of character. Now to set the margins, we come to see on page layouts. We come to here, we say margins. Now there are different margins. The normal margin is 1 inch top, 1 inch bottom, left 1 inch, right 1 inch. The same thing down. There are different types. So if you want to select yours, you select custom margins. Then if you want to add the margins to the top, you can add maybe 1.5. then the bottom 1.3 if you want. To the left you can make it 1.7, then to the right you can make it just 1.2, whichever way you like it. Then you click OK. You can see the text has shifted based on the columns you have selected, so you can undo it. So that is how to create margins, set margins and border size. Now we now have to preview a document before printing. To see how your document will look on paper, you come to Home, you click select print, then you see where it says print preview. You click it. It shows you how your document will appear on paper. You see how it looks like, beautifully arranged. You click close. You return back to normal. Now if you want to print a document, you click the office button, you go to print. Instead of clicking print preview, you go straight to print. Now under the print you can make some settings. First you see the printer name, HP LaserJet P110. You can change it to HP LaserJet depending on which printer you want to print, but let's use this for now. Then secondly, you select your number of copies. For that same page, you see 2 copies, 3 copies, how many copies do you need? You select it. Then, but if you want to print a particular page where the cursor is positioned, you select current page. If you want to print a document that has 10 pages, you can select all pages. Then if you want to print a specific page, maybe you want to print page 6, you just type the 6 and you click OK. So if you click OK, it sends it to the printer. Now, so that is what you do when you want to print. Then finally, if you want to create your resume is like your curriculum CV. You want to be looking for a job, you want to create your own resume, you can do that with Microsoft Word. To create your resume, you come to office button, you click new, then you see Oreo resume, origin resume. Any of them you select, these are templates of resume. So you select it, then say origin resume, then you click create. So now you can see it has given you a format, a framework. For example, ISP Computer, maybe the company name, you can put your own name there, then your address, your phone number, your email and your website. You also type in your objectives, type in your education, your experience, your skills you have, and any other thing you will want to add. So this is how to create resumes in Microsoft Word. I do it again. Click office button, new. You can select Oreo resume, for example. You click create. Then you fill in the blanks depending on the template. Anything that is not available in this resume, you can add to it. So let's close this too. We close this. No. Close this. We're not saving. So we are back to our document. So what have we learned so far? Quickly, we have learned how to work with tables, insert a table, merge columns and rows, split or divide column row on a table, change the color and size of table border, delete rows. We also have learned how to set document page, create a newspaper columns, add borders to documents, set margins, preview a document, print a document, and create a resume. Now finally, for you to master what you have learned so far from lesson 1 to lesson 5, I will urge you to do the following as your practice test or practice assignment. I will go to page 2. Now the first thing I want you to do is to type a 1.5 page document using double line spacing. The second thing to practice, to design a letter-headed paper of a company. Can be your company, somebody's company, your dad's company, or anything. The third is to create your own resume. And the fourth is to design a student timetable as below. The essence of this practice exercise is for you to be able to put together all that you have learned in these 5 lessons. And I hope that after you have done this, you will discover that you will have mastered the basics of Microsoft Word. So thank you, and check out our other learning videos of different other subjects. My name remains Vincent Hope. See you in our other videos. Thank you.